Hello and welcome. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful week. I just realized that I only have 2 weeks left of my Kindle Unlimited free trial, and I thought it would be fun to see how many books I can read off Kindle Unlimited in the time that I have left. I put a bunch of books on a Goodreads bookshelf called Kindle with all the books that are available on Kindle Unlimited that I'm interested in reading. And if you want to check out those books, I will link my Goodreads account down below. It was a 2-month free trial that I did, so in the month and a half that I've had it, I've read 5 books. I've read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, Marriage for One by Ella Mays, Night Shift by Annie Crown, and The Risk by St. Abbey. I'm currently in the middle of Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer, so I'll definitely be finishing that in this video. And then the other books that I really want to read, I'd say If We Were Villains, I've been interested in getting to. I kind of wanted to get the physical copy, so if I don't have a chance to read it on Kindle Unlimited, I won't be that upset. I know a lot of people really love the Chestnut Springs series, and it is on Kindle Unlimited, so I might have to just pick up Flawless, which is the first book in the series, and see how I like it. I'm not completely convinced that I'll like it. I also don't know how I like cowboy romances, which I know a lot of people have really gotten into them, and I think it's because of Chestnut Springs, and maybe I need to be one of those people. We'll see if I become a cowboy reader. I might read Brutal Prince, but it's not one that I'm absolutely needing to pick up. The Housemaid, I definitely want to pick up. And if I like that one, then I'll probably pick up Never Lie. I've heard a lot of good things about Truly Devious. I think this one's about solving like a bunch of unsolved crimes at a private school. Could be good. I kind of wanted to read like The Christmas Fix or Mr. Fixer-Upper by Lucy Score, because I haven't read one of her books yet. But I also have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, and I kind of want to read this one first. Hooked is another option that I'll probably put on the back burner because I'm not convinced that I want to read it. A lot of people have been reading Cinder, but I remember hearing about it when I was in middle school. I'm kind of intrigued. I kind of want to pick it up. Serpent and the Wings of Night, I definitely want to read. I know a lot of people really like it, so I don't know if I should just buy the physical book. I might just read the first one on... I could also read Daughter of No Worlds on Kindle, because that's also by Carissa Broadbent. I'll read at least one book by Carissa Broadbent. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I've heard a few people say that they really like this. I kind of want to read one of these Entangled with Fae books. Definitely want to read Accidentally Amy by Lynn Painter, though I also haven't read a Lynn Painter book yet. Even if I don't like Accidentally Amy, I'm definitely still going to read Better Than the Movies, which is the one I have. I also want to read A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I really like Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. Beartown I kind of really want to read, especially because it's like a wintry setting. This book is set in Sweden, or at least it was translated from Swedish, and it looks perfect for the winter. So Keeper of Enchanted Rooms I'm kind of interested in. Love Redesigned, I know a lot of people have really liked. I read the first chapter of Holiday Romance and I just wasn't attached, but I think the first chapter was good, and then I got annoyed that we skipped 9 years. Shadow and Bone I kind of want to read. Slewfoot I kind of want to read. I definitely want to get through the Mind F series because I read the first book and I really liked it. I mean, a lot of these books I'm just putting on the back burner. Let's recap. Mind F series for sure. Flawless, I just gotta read it. At least the first book. The Housemaid, a Carissa Broadbent book, either Serpent and the Wings of Night or Daughter of No Worlds. Accidentally Amy, Beartown. Let's start with those. And finishing Behind the Net. That'll still take me at least through the rest of today. I just finished Behind the Net. I don't know what happened. Like, the last 70 pages, I feel like all of a sudden, once they actually started to be in a relationship and like weren't holding themselves back anymore, it was just spice after spice after spice, and I just wasn't feeling it. Maybe I like the chase. I don't know. But that like 5-star feeling just kind of got lost. I think it started with like 5 chapters in a row of Spice. And then after that, I just couldn't get that same feeling back. I think something about the ending just had a different vibe, and I wasn't feeling it as much. I did like the last chapter and the epilogue. It was very cute. I'm a little worried that the same thing's gonna happen, where like once they admit their feelings and are in a relationship, I'm just gonna lose interest. I feel like a dude who's just in it for the chase, you know? I wouldn't have minded if there wasn't so much spice. Like I feel like there's other things we could have gotten more of rather than just spice. I thought the beginning of the book was really good. And I think if you like spicy romances, then you definitely like Behind the Net. If you do not like spice in your books, then absolutely stay very far away from Behind the Net, because that's all it is, really. So I was trying to decide what book I wanted to read next. I don't like reading a bunch of romances right in a row, or at least right now I don't feel like reading a bunch of romances right in a row. I don't really feel like reading The Housemaid yet, or a thriller. So I think I'm gonna actually go with Beartown, which is more just fiction. Funnily enough, Beartown is about hockey, so it's like another sports hockey book. Really, no matter what I pick, there's something that connects it to Behind the Net, and I like the change of pace in genre. I need a break from the spice, and I'm not really feeling thriller, and I don't want to do another fluffy romance. I was also looking at maybe doing Carissa Broadbent, but I can't decide which book I want to read first. I'm also listening to a fantasy audiobook, so I don't love reading 2 fantasy books at the same time. I don't want to get myself confused. So we'll read Beartown. It's essentially about this small town that's struggling financially. Kind of the hope of the town is kind of tied to this local ice hockey team that they have. I'm going to read a few chapters and I'll let you know how I'm feeling. So this story quite literally starts off with a bang, and I'm not gonna lie, it's drawing me in. Yeah, someone just murdered someone in the forest, and that's not how I expected this story to start, but I am drawn in. Kind of love the beginning of this book. It does a really good job setting the scene. It has a bunch of really short sections separated, some just like 1 paragraph, and it goes from describing Beartown and detailing just the general town vibe and what's going on in one section, and in the next section you read about a specific person in the town, and they all have different perspectives. First we see Maya, who plays the guitar and dreams of being anywhere but Beartown. Then we get to Amat, who's the typical, super into ice hockey since he was born kid, which I feel like is a lot of kids in this town. And then we get Kevin, and he's also a hockey kid who's been playing since he was 2.5, and he's like the best hockey player the town has ever seen, basically. The beginning also is separated by, between every section there's like a bang or a bang bang bang, and I thought that was pretty fun. When we get to Kevin's part, we learn what the banging is. I'll give you a hint, it's not a gun going off. And we also get the setup of why hockey is so important to this community and what they're hoping it can do for the community. The hope is that if they have enough amazing hockey players in Beartown, then that will draw other amazing hockey players to the town and just make it, this renowned ice hockey town. And then they'll get a bigger rink and bigger roads and malls and just bring in a bunch of new jobs to really support the economy in the community, and that is what would save Beartown. I guess we're gonna see if ice hockey really does save Beartown, or if Beartown crumbles, or maybe something else saves Beartown, or maybe nothing happens at all. I'm on chapter 22, page 178 of Beartown, almost halfway through. We've just reached a pivotal moment in the story. A lot of changes happening. they just had their semi-final hockey game, which is what the story has been like building up to. I don't want to give any more detail than that, but I'll just say that the characters that we've been following in the story are changing a lot at this particular moment, like drastically. I feel like I love all of the characters so much. So far we have followed like 50 characters, it feels like. Every few paragraphs we're following a new character in a specific situation. We follow one character, then we follow the next character that maybe they're like thinking about each other or reminiscing on a shared experience. And I feel like at this point I know half the town. I mean, the town's probably like 500 people. It's very small. But like there's beautiful friendships being formed right now. But there's also one character. He's just really let me down. Like I liked him. I really liked him. And I'm just so disappointed in him right now. And like I don't know where it's gonna go because I just did the thing that should not be named. And I don't know if following that, if there's gonna be like his reflection on like what a mistake he's made, or if it's gonna go into like a kind of like a villain arc. He goes from being a likable character to being kind of an asshole, you know? I feel like all of the characters in this book feel very real, and I feel very connected to all of them, like intimately. You see them on a surface level at first, you know, introduced to them during another character section, and you have like your initial feelings about them, like, oh no, they're like a jerk, or wow, they're amazing, based off of another character's kind of opinions and how that character acts around them. Then you get a section that goes into that character's point of view, and you understand like their childhood and what made them the way they are, innermost being of their soul. It's just really good. It's a very like reflective book, very good like in a literary sense. Like there's a lot of juxtaposition, you know, dichotomies of characters. You know, there's like one character who was really amazing at hockey and he went on to like the NHL, and then another character was similarly really great at hockey, like at the same level, but something happened in his career that made him go from being just as great to completely forgotten about, and he didn't go past like ice hockey from when he was playing at 17. I feel like a lot to digest and analyze in this book if you really want to do that. And it's actually a trilogy, which I've heard the second book isn't as good, so I'm not really like compelled to continue reading it, but like I might eventually pick up the rest of the books in the trilogy. Right now I'm sitting at a 4.5. Like it's really good and I really appreciate it as like a literary work. I don't have like that 5-star feeling. I can see people not liking it because I feel like it's not as action-packed and probably feels like more of a slow-paced book than other folks might like. I have one chapter left of Beartown on page 413. I think we've gotten through the whole story. I don't think anything monumentous is going to happen in the last 2 pages, but there is like 2 more books in the series. I've really liked it. I think I'm going to give it 5 stars just because I feel like it deserves it, but I can see people like not liking this. It's about a town playing ice hockey and like horrible things that happen. I don't know if I didn't fully read the summary or if I just like didn't think too much about it, but it got a lot darker than I expected it to. Okay. A few things do happen the last 2 pages. First thing I read that absolutely shocked me, and kind of means you have to continue reading the series to find out what this is alluding to, because it didn't give it away in the last 2 pages. Anyways, in 10 years' time, 2 of them will be playing professionally, One will be a dad. One will be dead. I know the 2 that will be playing professionally. I just don't know who's going to be dead and who's going to be a dad. It could go either way. The middle really shocked me. It played out as well as it could have, I suppose. One character still disappointed me. Other characters kind of disappointed me by following along. And then we have the characters that really made me proud. A lot of character growth and character decline. 5 stars. It was good. I recommend it if you like reading literary fiction, which tends to be depressing. So after that experience, I need something a little lighter. So I was choosing between like the few romance books we have on the list. Yeah, it was either Flawless or Accidentally Amy. But I'm going with Flawless, the first book in the Chestnut Springs series. I'm kind of worried about it. I don't know. Book talk books kind of scare me in the sense that I'm like, I really don't think I'll like this. It's my first cowboy romance book I've read. So we'll see if this gets me into cowboy romances. But I mean, I'm basically a hockey girly now. I've read like 3 hockey books. Behind the Net, which I did like, and Beartown, which isn't a romance. And I don't think it's classified as a hockey girly book, but it is about hockey. I'm 60% through Flawless right now, and I'm not really feeling much. I don't not like it. I'm just not really understanding what all the hype is about. I think it's cute, you know, especially listening to it with like the dedicated Spotify playlist. You know, I'm feeling the Western vibes, like the cowboy vibes. Feels very relaxing. It's nice. It's fun. I just got to the romance part. I feel like it's kind of starting to pick up now. It's like, I feel like this is what we were waiting for this whole time. But I don't know if it's a me problem. I just don't feel very connected to the characters. I feel like 40% of the way through the book, I didn't really know too much about them. This last 20%, I know more about like their troubled past and, you know, their family lives. I'm still just not like fully in it. I don't think it's bad. I think right now I'm sitting at like a 3-star. Yeah, just kind of like, it's enjoyable, but I don't really care too much. We've seen a few of Rhett's bull riding games, and those are kind of fun. You know, it's fun seeing the little interaction. Summer's like worry for him and like excitement to see him do well. Kind of fun to have a different aspect like that in it, but I'm still just not really in it. There's also like this weird interaction with her dad. Like weird interaction between her dad and herself, Summer, and her dad and Rhett. They talk about sex too much with her dad. It just makes me uncomfortable. Honestly, the last chapter was so cute. I don't want to spoil it, but it's like you're watching a movie, you know? I mean, we all know what happens, but in my mind, the ending of A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff was playing, if that helps you understand the vibe at all. That's what was in my head. It was cute. It was like, I should have been listening to the song from A Cinderella Story that plays at the end, because that's what it felt like. And now I'm on the epilogue. I just finished Flawless. Honestly, it was pretty good. You know, the first 50% of the book, I was thinking it might be a 3 stars. I need to like adjust my ranking system because I think I just like skew up a bit. Like if I like a book, I give it 4 stars. If I don't feel connected to the characters, but it's not like a bad book to me, I give it 3 stars. 2 stars, I just don't like it. And 1 star, I don't even know how I finished it. But I thought the ending was really cute. Like the last 50% was really cute. I mean, it is a romance, so I feel like once there was actually romance in it, I was like, okay, no, this is cute. This is fun. I'd recommend it if you're looking for, especially if you're looking for a Western style romance. Is the first one I've read, but it's fun, it's light, you know, nothing too deep, nothing too complex. I honestly I might like it better than Behind the Net, which at first when I was reading Behind the Net, I absolutely loved it. I liked Flawless. I'm not like needing to read the rest of the series right now, but I might read it. There's other books I would rather read. Next, I'm gonna read Accidentally Amy. Flawless got me in the romance mood, and I've read the first page of Accidentally Amy. I don't know how much I'm gonna read tonight, but I could be finished tomorrow. I'm just over 60% of the way through Accidentally Amy, and I think it is so fun. I will say I understand why people might not like it. I feel like you really need to be in the right mood to read it. I read the 60% last night. My brain was kind of already shut off for the day, and I think that was perfect. It's such a fun, easy read, but I think if you think too much about it, then you'll get really annoyed at the characters. Our main character, Izzy, is kind of chaotic. You know, she talks a mile a minute, says whatever is on her mind, changes the topic rapidly, and is just so chaotic. They played this game in the book that was the most absurd thing I've ever heard of. It's like trivia, and then there's these really weird physical challenges that are just completely impossible. And it's written as if you're like in her head. Like at one point it was just like literal gibberish, you know, like I guess when you're like texting and you just can't, and you just tap random things all across the keyboard just to get out your like frustration and or whatever that feeling is. That's in it, and all those jumbled letters. And I'm getting to the part where the whole time they're obviously smitten with each other, and the main point of the plot is that even though they're very attracted to each other and have great chemistry, they can't be together because he's her boss. So I was just constantly giggling and kicking, going crazy reading this book last night. I'm to the part where they're getting more serious about their relationship, the romance part, and I'm a little worried that that the crazy, cheesy, gross, insta-lovey kind of vibes are gonna get to be cringy when they're actually in a relationship, just being all over each other and happy and in a relationship. That's where it starts to get kind of gross. I feel like this book is best read in one sitting, and it can be read in one sitting. It's only not even 250 pages. It's 240 pages. You can definitely read it in one sitting, and I think it's probably the best way to do it. Before you have time to think about how cringy it is, that is the best time to read it. I think it's really fun. It's nothing deep. I know, nothing substantial. I have 90 pages left, so I'm gonna try and finish this tonight and get on to the next book. Next, I'm either gonna read The Housemaid or a Carissa Broadbent book. I feel after just speeding through these last 2 books, especially this one because it's so short, that makes me not want to read a super long book, and I'm pretty sure Carissa Broadbent's books are substantially longer, 240 pages to 500 pages, which is what Carissa Broadbent's books are, so I think I'll probably read The Housemaid next and then just work my way up. I'm going to finish these last 100 pages and let you know how this book ends. I just need to say, I know exactly what I was talking about earlier with the whole, I feel like it's written in first person, even though it's like clearly written in third person. Randomly, like based off of, you know, what's going on like in their heads. Like it just says like God, you know, with like GAWWWWD. Like that's literally just written as a narration. And then she also says things like, oh my God, like OMIGAWD. just like things like that. I'm like, this is actually ridiculous. It's easy to like read through and like giggle if you're not thinking too much about it, but like if you're looking for something like substantial and like serious, I think that would just drive you insane. It feels kind of like immature, you know? I've been ignoring it and it's been going well. I also just want to say that her nickname for him is the weirdest thing. Like, she just casually calls him Chest because she spilled coffee on his chest. Like, every time she says it, such a weird nickname. But I just wanted to say it. I also just want to read the sentence to you guys because I think it perfectly describes how this book is written. Mr. Chest's chest was chestal perfection. I'll say that again just in case. I think I fumbled over the words a bit. Mr. Chest's chest was chestal perfection. It's like a tongue twister. It kind of sums it up. It's really all you need to know. I'm now a little over halfway through The Housemaid, and I am really liking it so far. I think I'm a thriller girly, if I must say. But I had to wake up super early, and like the part of the book I was at was just really creeping me out. Like there was nothing that was like happening where I was like, oh my goodness, she like is actively being murdered, you know? But you know, I was getting all antsy because I felt like something really bad was about to happen, and it might still be in like another 100 pages. I can feel it coming, you know? Feel it. I've had so many theories throughout this book. Like I still have so many theories, but there's like one that I'm like, I really feel like this is what's happening. It kind of seems like it's the most out there, you know, theory based off how everything's being presented, but I feel like when you're reading a thriller, what you least expect ends up being what happens. I'm like convinced my theory is right, but of course now that I'm like convinced it's right, I'm starting to think that maybe it's not. Like maybe there's gotta be something else, because if it seems like it's one way, it's gotta be another way. That's just how I feel. I have like 140 pages left. I think I can finish it tonight if I really try. I want to try to finish it like well before I go to bed, because if I don't want to be like staying up all night like, oh my goodness, that was crazy. I actually started reading Serpent and the Wings of Night last night, so I wasn't like in the thriller zone before going to bed. I only read the prologue, but I really like the vibe and the writing style so far after like 5 pages, and I'm really excited. I'm so excited to read these books. It is February 2nd today, and my free trial ends on February 5th. Like, I get billed on February 5th. So my goal is to finish this book and Serpent and the Wings of Night and the next book in the Mind F series before the 5th. I honestly think I can do it because on Sunday I am flying to Rhode Island for a work trip, which means like I'll just be in the airport / on the plane for like 5 hours. And like, what else am I gonna do other than read? I'll check in with you when I finish. I just realized that this book has parts. I've only been in part 1 this whole time. I'm in the last chapter of part 1, which makes me really nervous for this chapter. It's happening. Honestly, when I saw that I was about to enter into part 2, like, I knew that's what was gonna happen. Did you guys know this book is told in multiple perspectives? I didn't. Okay, part 1 is from the maid's perspective. And I guess I shouldn't share whose perspective part 2 is from, but this changes things. This makes me very excited about the prospects of this book. I knew it. This is like so much better. So much better than I expected. My free trial for Kindle Unlimited has officially ended. I definitely forgot to give my final updates on a few of these books, so I thought it'd be good to just do a quick run through. So the first book I finished was Behind the Net. I really liked the beginning of this book. Like, it was giving, 4.5 stars even, maybe. Mainly because I was ignoring all the red flags, namely the fact that they didn't care to think about anything other than tearing each other's clothes off. But I got past that, and everything was really good until like the last 70 pages. And all of a sudden, our characters are kind of in a relationship. The romance is like really strong, really there. And all they want to do with each other is spice. Let's just only spice for like 5 chapters. 5 chapters, 5 different scenarios. Nothing else happens in those 5 chapters. Is that all we're gonna do now? Like, I kind of wanted to see the more emotional side of your relationship, not just the physical side. The ending was cute, but everything that I expected to happen kind of happened, and they just wrapped like a nice little bow around it, and that was it. It was kind of meh. That dropped my rating down to a 3.5 overall, but if you like hockey romance, then I think it'd be a good book. If you like spice, it'd be a good book. Next, to get a break from the romance, I read Beartown, and this was absolutely amazing. Like you saw, we meet so many different characters in this book, and it's not just like a surface level, oh, there's this character, they do this is their role in the story. Every single character you're introduced to, on like a deep emotional level. Like, we don't just meet these characters. We know them. They become our best friends. In some cases, our enemies, but I absolutely love this. Did not see what happened in this book coming. Like, halfway through the book, I was completely shocked. I was like, why are my, like, favorite characters becoming assholes? Like, why are they trash? What is going on? Why has this happened? It took a turn. It was a little horrific. That did not take away from how amazing the book was. If anything, it added to it. It was just very upsetting to read about. It was so good. I gave it 5 stars overall, just because it was like a literary work of art. Like, it was so good. But I could also see people not liking this. I mean, because you are just reading about this like hockey town, and there's a lot of background giving, a lot of jumping between different characters to build the story, which I loved. But I can see other people not liking it, especially if you don't like literary fiction as much. Next, I went back into romance. I read Flawless. I like to read my romances in between my books with absolutely no romance. I know this book is very hyped. Like, so many people absolutely love it. And so that's why I read it. Honestly, even like going into it, I didn't really have high hopes. I think it's like maybe the cowboy thing. I'm not into cowboy romances. I've never read a cowboy romance. Wasn't super into it like 50% of the way through. Like, it was fine. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. I just like didn't really care. Like, I didn't really care about the characters. I didn't really get the point of the plot. It seemed pretty basic. Like, nothing was really happening. But then once the romance started, like, I feel like that was the point of the book, the romance. So I liked the romance. I thought it was cute. It wasn't my favorite, but like, it was still an enjoyable read. I just wasn't like invested in the story, but it was definitely light and fluffy and cute. Overall, I gave it 3.5 stars. It was good. It was cute. I'll probably read the rest of the series eventually, but I'm not like dying to get my hands on the next book. Like, if you like the beginning, you'll probably like it for the whole book. Then I was still kind of in the romance mood, so I read Accidentally Amy, which is, I feel like Accidentally Amy is like a fully light, easy read. Like, honestly, if you don't want to have to think, you just want to like experience the chaotic energy, the like cute rom-com love story, I think it's perfect. I like these books that like fully go into the rom-com vibe. I don't like the slight rom-com vibe trying to be like kind of serious and like make it like important, like it means something. I like, if we're gonna do rom-com, let's just do rom-com. Let's not make it anything like special. I loved Accidentally Amy. I thought it was so fun. The energy, very chaotic. I could definitely see people not loving it just because it is chaotic, and like the narration style is like you're in the person's head, like, but still in third person, which is kind of like a weird mix because it's like third person narration and then all of a sudden it's like her thoughts, like, oh my god, like that's so crazy, like very very like childish chaotic thoughts spoken kind of weird like that, you know, and that was kind of icky, but I looked past it because that's what I like to do. Definitely very cheesy, very much a comedy. I really enjoyed reading it. I was giggling and screaming and smiling the whole time. 4 stars overall. Then I had too much romance, so I needed to take a step back and read some other genre. So I decided to pick up The Housemaid, which was a thriller. It wasn't my favorite, but I definitely really liked it. I gave it 4.25 overall. It's separated into 3 parts, I believe. And you follow a different character in the second part. Third part you go back to our main character. I liked the first part the best, and maybe the third part because that was also very fun. The first part was very thriller-esque, like, you know, nothing's actually happening in terms, like, no, nobody's getting murdered or getting like tortured or anything, but it's, you know, it's a thriller. It's like that vibe in the back, like something's about to happen, like, girl, you need to get out of there, it's not a good situation. Like, there's definitely something wrong with these people, like, get out of that house. It was so fun to read. I did end up mainly guessing the ending, like, it was basically what I thought would happen, but there were like some twists, like some more things you learn about, and, you know, the way it's told is kind of fun. I think the second part isn't as much of a thriller because, like, you know what's gonna happen already, and it's just more of told to you, like, this is what happened. I will say though, there were some really disturbing parts. High-key disturbing. Like, I was visibly cringing. Like, I had to like take a minute because it was too much. Made me shiver. Like, anyways, I feel like that was like a nice palate cleanser in a sense from the romance, really to like shock me out of the romance vibes. And then I read my romantasy, Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. It was so good. I really liked it. 5 stars. It was like, the plot, so good. The characters, amazing. The romance, my goodness. I loved it. Like, it's more than just a cute romance, a cute fluffy fantasy. Like, it's definitely in there. There's like fighting scenes, you know, magic, heartbreak for sure. I'm so excited to read the rest of the series. And that was the last book I read. A few days have passed since I finished Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I finished that honestly a little after my end date I gave. I finished it on February 5th, which was when I was billed for the next month of Kindle Unlimited. So the past 2 weeks I read 6 books, which if I kept up that reading pace during my whole free trial, that definitely would have been like getting the most out of my free trial. So we had Behind the Net at 3.5 stars, Beartown at 5 stars, Flawless at 3.5 stars, Accidentally Amy at 4 stars, The Housemaid at 4.25 stars, and Serpent and the Wings of Night at 5 stars. That was pretty good. 2 weeks, 2 5-star books, a 4.25. Honestly, great. Fantastic. The fact that I read like a 5-star book each week, like, what more can you want? Some pretty good stats there. Anyways, that is all. This was my time reading on the Kindle Unlimited for my free trial. It was great. I highly recommend it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.